Hello，大家好，欢迎大家回来福尔摩斯第一章。上次呢，我们就好像审完那个女的吧，我没记错的话是女的吧？对，好像是她。应该你还没审吧？
Good day,
是不是？
Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Furnace, friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
观察，我其实有点忘记她到底我做到哪里耶。化了妆，染发剂引起的皮疹。他手怎么那么白啊？匆忙洗手。什么奢仪吗？奢什么奢侈昂贵？它是曼奇什么？等一下啊！啊，这里，好的。库尔特非常富有、古怪而且轻佻，他是科尔多纳精英们的聚会组织者，也是曼奇奥斯庄园的主人，还说和同样的特权阶级的人混在一起。而这种社交环境让他对自己的健康格外注重，还使用化学药品和染发剂来打理和改善自己，所以他的皮肤受到了不同程度的损伤。后面就是想对他所在政党的年轻人隐瞒自己真实的年龄，他担心自己会变老，所以一直用化妆品和染发剂让自己看起来更年轻。他注重整洁的话，指甲内不会有那个肥皂吧？他应该就是很干净的人啊。
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here, with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
看一下。
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
哎，你说那么少吗？哦，还在等待。
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
嗯，
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
很生气哦。
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience, his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
啊，好，我发现我好像还没，我有审他了吗？我记得，还是我没有存到档啊？应该有
I'm
吧？
Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Fabio knew the risks. Selling his body to degenerates who hid behind robes and masks, it could not end well.
That's only your distorted understanding of safety. Officers here, they wear robes and masks too. It's a dangerous lifestyle. But it's not as though we were given many other choices.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
诶，我还没观察他吗？我怎么有印象我观察了？我有吧？他的话我有印象啊。还真的没有。哎，还有啊，哦，还有胸口那个。 有吧？这个我记得有念过啊。对啊，这你们自己看，因为我记得有念过的话，我就算了。我们要继续，因为这样
Fabio
太
and
长了。
yourself were slaves, am I correct? You have a similar branding on your body.
Yes. It was a long time ago.
Couldn't help but also notice fresh cuts upon your forearms.
The cuts helped me to forget my past, to cover the old wounds and hide them.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away
对啊，
that
我
day.
有印象哎，
We managed to get on a ship and traveled here.
我是没录影吗？有吧？
Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped. I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so. This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
好了，我们来看看最后一个了吧。对啊，我也记得我有审他。我都有审他的话，诶，那我是证据式的还没看，是不是？吗？对啊，都有看的欸。那我还差什么？我看一下。7号审讯室，好。
Please let me out.
哦，还没看他的东西是不是？我怎么记得我也有看啊？
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
对啊，胡子蜡跟眼睛灯啊，哈，莫名其妙。
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love. Cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake, I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
耶，他很生气耶！啊，最后一个。
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
好的，我们看看，1、2、3、4、16个，好。有血迹，我知道鞋里沾到了血，线索。倾血身上的血迹也有可能，在这两个是对立的。他们在实验室引起了争执。为了获得遗产，但他没有获得应有的回报。他没有注意到，不小心踩到吗？应该是写给库尔特的。合理。他比较相信秘法。他打伤了女生，马上是被客人弄伤吗？吗？我也不知道哎。这个应该没有吧？对啊。
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchos.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
Please let me out.
好，你没有画，那就换你了。
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchos?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Yeah, 好可怜哦。
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
他否认哦。
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
我觉得今天我们就可以把这个案子结掉了，然后下一次就应该是最后一集了。我先储存。好的，我们再来思维殿堂。这个吗？有可能啊。他们没有真的翻脸吧？哎呦，这是什么？他是凶手。我觉得女生比较不像凶手嘛。感觉不太像吧？如果是桑托斯，他不会报警吧？还是他故意的？哦，因为他也逃走嘛，有可能是他哎。还有什么其他的吗？是谁？是他是凶手的意思。还有吗？他是凶手，我还是觉得 管家好像比较有可疑耶。我用管家好了。他替他叔叔工作了很多年，希望可以继承他的遗产。我觉得可以重新开始诶，我会给他这个诶。我觉得是吧？
I know who killed Fabio.
So I'm free to go, sir?
Quite the opposite. I think it was you, Mr. Pinchetti.
That is not possible.
Allow me to explain. The blood on your shoe tells me that you were with Fabio. You stabbed him with the dagger while he was still alive. You drew a sigil on him. There was a great deal of blood. You needed to remove it. Blood is almost like glue. It sticks to everything, dries quickly, and is quite visible. But you know how to handle stains. You are Kurt Manchios's major domo. However, despite your best efforts, you missed a spot.
It doesn't make sense, sir. I was never there. I am convinced there's a reasonable explanation.
You wanted to be rid of your dear uncle. I myself barely know him and already find him intolerable. You've worked for him for years. Santos, do this. Santos, do that. He doesn't pay you. He doesn't recognize your work. He doesn't see you as family. But you thought that heritage might be yours. Instead, all you'll ever receive is mustache wax. It is painful to witness such a situation. I cannot imagine how it must be for you. So you decided to frame your uncle. Put the blame for Fabio's murder on him. That way, the heritage is yours, and you are free of it.
Half of what you say is true. I'm in pain. I have had a hard time with my uncle, but I'm not a murderer. I can't even stand up to my uncle. How could I have killed Fabio? He did nothing to me.
He was a source of your troubles too, though. Especially since Mr. Manchios treated him like...
为什么都会断了最后一个字啊？
You staged this decadent ritual so you would not be suspected. After a short fight, you knocked Fabio unconscious. You locked the door and dragged the body to the altar. You wanted to set up someone acquainted with this masquerade.
I don't have the nerve to kill or stage a murder. I can't even leave my uncle's house.
但是他的狡辩就很假啊。
Your uncle is a cruel man. He used everyone around him to his advantage. I don't believe he even truly loved Fabio. You knew very little love, support, or care from him. You lost your mind, Santos. And innocent people were... I can't allow you to go free, but I can try to help you. I can provide my findings to the police. Decadence and perversity might poison anyone around.
I don't know what to say. I can't breathe. I need to go outside.
Unfortunately, you can't.
对啊，我觉得他的狡辩都很没力耶。他没有去过的话，他的血迹怎么沾上？然后他也为什么会报警？他说不敢反抗，那个也是假的吧？就是他只是他因为也无处可归啊，所以他才会那个啊。
Constable, Santos Pinchetti killed Fabio. The evidence is clear.
Is that so? A man like him has actually grown a pair.
He intended to set up his uncle for the inheritance. The old man had humiliated him for years in every possible way.
Oh, what a bunch of degenerates.
Well, as for Mr. Pinchetti, the evidence tells us that he was wronged and pushed to commit a crime to be rid of his uncle. I suggest that you help in easing his sentence.
That's a sad story, all right. But at least it's good enough for my promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
好啦，完成了，我们今天先到这边结束，谢谢大家收看，我们下次再见啦，拜拜，记得订阅我哦，拜拜。